Today I'll be showing you all of the hidden updates that came with this latest hardcore wipe, starting with the most obvious of no quests. Yes, that's right, as per NIKITA, there will be no quests outside of dailies and weeklies for some time, which means that progression is effectively locked with the traders at level 1 for the moment. People keep asking me how to get their tasks back, but there is literally no way to unlock them right now, so you've just got to get out there and try to build up your gear without them. We do still have daily and weekly tasks, with dailies unlocking at level 5 as before, and I believe weeklies at level 15, although I'm not quite there yet myself, but this should give you something to do, and also remember that you should have at least one reroll per day to avoid any particularly egregious asks. I was seriously concerned with this quest lock about the 0.2 rep from the higher game editions, allowing players to access level 2 traders early before everyone else, but BSG have temporarily made the trader requirement for level 2 player level 80 to get this, so for the time being no one has access whatsoever. One of the biggest ramifications of this is Jaeger and Ref. As you need to complete Introduction to get access to Jaeger, he is now totally unavailable. With Ref, players were wondering how he was going to get nerfed, and like Jaeger, because you can't do Skier's quest Easy Money Part 1 to unlock him, he's completely disabled too. Arena is still playable however, and there are dailies and weeklies there as well right off the bat, but there's actually not much advantage right now to being a higher level outside of unlocking dailies and weeklies in the base game. The only other thing that player level is used for is access to higher level traders alongside the money spent and trader rep requirements. If you level past 5, you also have to pay for therapist healing again, but I think the dailies are probably worth getting despite this. Arena did come up before the main game this time, and I got to level 6 there before EFT even opened, but it just meant that I skipped the free healing in exchange for dailies in Raid 1. You can unfortunately still move rubles from Arena to EFT though, even without Ref, which does make it a much easier place to get cash than the base game. Normally, SCAV is very powerful for this on wipe day, but SCAV raids have been nerfed dramatically via both cooldown and map selection. SCAVs are now on an hour and 15-minute timer to reset at the start, which is an incredibly long time, and you can only start on customs or factory. SCAVs can extract to other maps using transits, and this is especially useful given that the timer is so long right now. This means if you don't find enough stuff in your first raid and you want to make the most of the timer, transiting to another map gives you the opportunity to fill up your bag completely before leaving and hitting the hour-long queue to get back in. Unfortunately, you can't send stuff back to your stash through the transits as a SCAV even if you have the cash on you. I tested this last wipe, so you can't roam the map for all eternity paying for items to go back to stash forevermore, because that would be really strong in this hardcore patch. Before we continue, let me introduce you to my favorite Tarkov app and the sponsor of today's video, Tarkov Companion. And what this effectively is a map combined with the quest tree. The reason why this is so useful, I know there's no quests right now in Tarkov because of the hardcore wipe, but when we do get some quests, basically you'll be able to see where you need to go and do these things on the map here and over on the right hand side. Once you've completed one, you basically just press done and it'll load the next one in. You set your level over on the left hand side and then it knows what quest is coming next, so you can track it dynamically. The reason why this is extra good is it shows you exactly what to do without having to go between different maps and wiki pages all over the place all in one app, which is really nice. So saving them all, for example, if you're not sure exactly where to go, you click on it, it shows you all the different steps with pictures, the various locations in the hard drive, and if you are unsure still about where you need to be, it says USEC PMC group, you can find it on the map and it'll zoom in, show you exactly where you need to go. The way that the maps are laid out, I also really like. It's got a multi-layer approach. So for example, in Tarbank, this is the first floor. And if you click here, then you can see we've got the third floor there. The reason why it's highlighted around the edge is because there is a quest hidden on a different floor. And you can navigate and find all of these by going up into the filters and in the quests thing, pressing the little magnifying glass, and it'll show you all of them. So you know that you need to click here and there's a spot that you need to go up to there. It also has item and hideout trackers as well. So there's the full quest list here if you do want to go down and look through any in particular, all the ones that are blocked. And it also has these hideout trackers too. So what you do is you start off with the overall view of the hideout, and in here you can look at different modules. So if you look at illumination level 1, for example, you can say, yes, I've done this, yes, I've done that. You've also got this section, which is the full item tracker. You can look for things that you just need for quests, things that you just need for the hideout, and then you can also tick missing only. So once you've finished with one of the items, it'll only show you things that you'll need in the future. Not only this, it tracks PvE and PvP too. Up in the top right, there's a little button, PvE and PvP, so you can swap back and forth between the two different modes because we now have two different characters. And there's so many features of this app that I just can't cover. There's filters like you would expect on various other ones with extraction, spawn points, loot, that kind of thing that you can add over the top as well for all of the various different maps that you might want to go on, as well as a handy ammo chart in the game too that you can just click through and see on the fly. So I really do like Tarkov Companion. As I said, it genuinely is one of my most favorite tools that I use in Escape from Tarkov, and it's especially helpful for me on stream. If you want to go and see it for yourself, go down into the description where I'll leave a link for it so you can download it and have a look at it, and I hope that you get as much use out of it as I have. So as a PMC, you can start on Ground Zero, Factory and Customs, and of course you can transit to the other maps for free, but to move items back to the stash in between transits, it costs money. This is still relatively cheap depending on the item, so if you're thinking of transiting, it is definitely worth bringing at least 10k in case you find some bolts, nuts or other useful items for the hideout. The car extracts on the other hand are now horrendously expensive, costing about 40k per use. This is good and bad because it means that you do have to be more deliberate about taking them. Not everyone has 40k just on them, in part because of the secure container changes that I'll show you in just a second, so if you do want to use them, they are more likely to not be taken. Speaking of extracts, there might be some other changes that we haven't noticed yet, but the main one is the Customs RUAF extract, which seems to have been removed. If you spawn at the factory end of Customs, you have to go to Trailer Park or Crossroads now instead, which takes quite a bit longer. One trick that I'll let you in on here is that the green extract flares are extremely useful to have because they go into the special slots which you don't lose on death, but we can't buy them yet as Jaeger is closed. However, there is a guaranteed spawn on Ground Zero at Mira Avenue, and if you go and pick it up but don't use it, you can pop it into your special slots and then save it for another more important raid. This is then usable on streets, woods or customs where there are also green flare extracts available too. If you're lucky enough to find a signal pistol, you can also nab this and special slot it as well and hope to find a green flare cartridge to use in that also. So secure containers, we knew that ammo and money was not going to be allowed, hence why most people aren't holding 40k on them for the car. But the most meds thing that we were speculating on before turns out to be that basically nothing is allowed except for stims. This is certainly a choice. Any medkits, painkillers, splints, bandages and tourniquets have to be carried on your PMC directly. However, BSG have just made a change to the CMS kit to allow it into the special slots. Whether the Serve 12 goes in here too, I'm not sure, and it only goes into the very first slot, but this is a massive boost to survivability for a lot of players, and because it doesn't go into the secure container, it's actually a benefit to standard account players as well. However, the CMS itself now only has 3 uses, as a lot of medical items now have much lower durability than before. CMS, Vaseline and Alu Splints are 3, Golden Star is 5, Ibuprofen is 8, and Serve 12 is 9. You can check these things out in the handbook, even if you don't have them yourself. There are 3 other elements about the traders that you should be aware of. First, the reset timer on the trader's stock is a lot longer. That probably doesn't matter much right now, because the items are pretty bad and generally aren't 1 per reset, but it will matter more as the higher trader levels get unlocked. 2, insurance is incredibly expensive. Basically just don't do it. The starter kit costs around $500,000 to insure, and many players yesterday burned through all their starting cash by accident insuring on muscle memory. Skill issue, I guess. It probably would have been better for BSG to remove it entirely rather than leaving a landmine in their user interface, but that's BSG for you. Oh, and it also takes 30 to 80 hours for him to give the stuff back, so yeah, insurance is pretty much worthless at the moment. The only thing that seems cheap-ish is helmets and integrated armor rigs without plates, which has been the case in prior wipes for a while now, and I think this is something to do with the armor system and the fact that both of these are defined as soft armor only. 3, you can't buy dollars or euros from the traders at the moment. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not. You can generate dollars by selling to Peacekeeper, but euros you have to find in raid. Thankfully, there aren't many items that need them on level 1 traders, and they also aren't very important. There is one new set of ammo that has come this wipe with the advent of the AK-50, which is the 50 BMG bullet, which looks to be accessible on some of the higher trader levels if you look on the handbook and on the flea market interface. All of these bullets are absolutely insane, as you can imagine, for a meme gun that's behind a special task, and even the worst bullet is 260 damage with 34 pen, with the best being 160 damage and 115 pen. So pretty much all of these ammos are going to one-shot everybody wearing regular armor. Outside of that, you might not kill somebody with class 6 if you hit them with the M33 round, but the top one is going to go through all armor in the game, no matter where you are, and is going to kill everybody. As for the hideout, the increased requirements ended up being just a straight 2x multiplier on the old number of items for every station. So workbench 1, for example, is now 4 nuts and 4 bolts, water collector is 8 hoses, and so on. This is going to take a bit longer to do than in previous wipes, but one interesting ramification of the find and raid requirement being removed from the hideout, when combined with the secure container limits, basically means that you have nothing else to put in there outside of hideout stuff. So you can get permanent and incremental progression by popping things into your secure, which you can then use for the hideout modules. Finally, the starting loadouts are exactly the same as normal, which is a bit of a shame as it gives EOD and unheard players a big boost at the start of what is supposed to be a hardcore wipe. But it is what it is, and without insurance, this starter gear will actually disappear from the economy relatively quickly. So do go and check out Tarkov Companion in the description. Otherwise, as usual, a big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.